Melody Ferronda is joining us today on So Jannelle TV via Zoom, joining us from Migrante USA, also newly appointed secretary of the group. Hello, Melody. Welcome to the show and congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
This has been an issue that's being covered by Filipino press, and definitely we have to talk about this. But first, coming from Migrante USA, for those who are not familiar with the group, how would you introduce Migrante to our viewers?
Migrante USA is an alliance of organizations, grassroots from across the country here in the United States, made up of migrants, Filipino migrants and workers that are fighting for our rights and welfare, and also fighting for change and progress in the Philippines so that we can return to our families and have a future back home in the Philippines as well. So as Migrante, we take up different campaigns and issues that Filipino migrants are experiencing, whether that's with detention and deportation, to wage theft, to even racism and discrimination.
Right. And it's no surprise to me that you are also heavily involved in this case of our seafarers in Norfolk, Virginia. This is important. This is an important case, not only because of its magnitude, so many lives affected and families. So, Megan, I guess my first question is you have been in direct contact with one or at least one of the Carnival Sunshine Seafarers. What have you learned so far? How are they?
With one of the seafarers that we're connected with, what they have shared with us is really the lack of due process and justice that her, alongside other seafarers, experienced with this case of detention and deportation that not just her, but really more than 100 seafarers have experienced. They talk about having being harassed by Customs and Border Protection here in the U.S. And being pressured to give in to the orders of immigration here. No legal representation, no actual charge, no concrete evidence to prove that these charges are true. And instead, what we are seeing is that Filipino seafarers are being treated as criminals despite having valid visas and being put into detention and deported back without any sort of support. Even back home in the Philippines, as she's tried to seek support from the Philippine government, there has been very little assistance and very little effort in being able to hear out her concerns and seeing what can be done. So this is something that we're seeing as a growing problem, especially because so many Filipinos are seafarers, and that's becoming a growing industry for Filipino workers back home in search of a better life and livelihood. And what we want to really make clear is that we can't just, kind of go through this situation being quiet and silent, because they will detain you. They will try to deport you. They will try to intimidate you. And where we've seen where we're most strong is when we're actually together and united and fighting back. And so that's what we are trying to encourage Filipinos, the Filipino seafarers, to do, is to speak out and to come together and to really share and expose what's going on, so that people know that this is a reality, but people also know that they're not alone, and that, if we can organize and change these things, we can get a step closer to justice.
Right. Wag matakot, you have a full community behind you, and we're all doing our part, coming together to make our voices stronger, right?
Of course, there's a lot of fear, but on the other side of fear is hope, and we only find that through being together and through really developing that fight and support for one another. Hopefully, knowing that there's people out there that are also here to fight alongside you, we can overcome these challenges and also fight for not just a future and safety here in the U.S., but also a Philippines where we don't have to leave the country just to make ends meet, just to end up, being part of being detained and deported and going through a very violent immigration system to be traumatized just to provide for our families.
The family, the communities, were all kind of on edge because of this, because it seems like documented or undocumented, there's not even any distinction anymore. And so how is this affecting the community?
They are so depressed because up to Europe, they're not even accepted anymore because of that revocation of the visa. Because they started asking, do we stand the chance of having our visas, brought back to us? And I said, why don't we take this occasion to clear your name? To clear your name and our name.
You mentioned depressed, but Filipinos, we are fighters deep down.
Yeah.
Right? Are they willing to speak? Are they willing to fight? Do they feel defeated?
I'm so happy that Aki was able to speak and we were credible because they came up with their testimonies.
A few of them already were interviewed by ABS-CBN, and all of them are actually just documenting and sharing with us the documentation, like pictures of their revoked visas. So that actually gave us the real concrete information so that then we could bring their stories forward. They are now just really willing to tell their stories. And I think
and asking us, what is the next move?
Which is my next question as well, Aki. What is the next move for PwC and for the groups involved in being the mouthpiece of the seafarer?
So we're meeting together with the workers, updating with things that they've done and they've heard, and we're updating with them on what's moving here. We're continuing to educate legislators so that there can be government oversight on what's happening. One is by exploring legal strategies to sue for violations of rights, as well as organizing more community support, because we were there on Sunday and no one got deported on Sunday.
The press conference was in front of the ship.
Almost like a human shield, right? Which is what we need to do to protect each other. And you did mention that community support. So for the viewers watching us, we are on ABS-CBN, we are on TFC, we are on ANC, we are on KXLA Channel 44. We are on I Want TFC streaming. We are on social media, on So Jannelle TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram platforms. What can we do?
We're actually going to be creating a Facebook page as well as a website so that people can come to find out the updates, and that they can also join in any kind of call to actions that we have. This is happening in so many different places that we're looking for people who are in Florida, in the Orlando area, to be able to support, because there are so many that are being detained there. We need action and visibility happen there in the Great Lakes. But also, in order to restore their visas, there is legal processes we've been able to research, and there is process to make that happen. But likely we're going to need to raise funds for a legal fund, because even just filing fees for it are over $1,000. We are also likely going to be, putting in letters to the companies so that they are doing everything that they can to stand up for their workers, and advocate with the governments as well. So if we have broad support, that makes us so much more stronger and powerful to have real change.
Just summarizing, the call to action is for our kababayans to take a stand. Each one of us can take a stand, right? Whether we support through resources, we support financially. We're calling on Filipinos in those areas in Florida and the Great Lakes to come out. If you can help and support, please connect to PwC.
I would also ask people to speak up for the workers as well, and to answer wrong accusations, and to be clear that these seafarers were not charged with anything, were not convicted, that there isn't evidence that has been presented against them, and that they deserve justice.
We're gonna do this together, and we're not gonna stop, right, Aki, until we find justice and until really we solve the issue, which is they need to revamp their immigration laws, and also the Philippine government needs to step up to protect our workers. So thank you to both of you, and more power to PwC.